Hello and welcome to Enjoy English School.
欢迎来到 Enjoy 英语学院
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Laurie.
Today and tomorrow, we are looking at our Spotlight on Taiwan lesson, and we're talking about food. Haha, one of my favorite subjects.
Me too.
Today, we are going to talk about 卤肉饭. And I like in English to say the cheapest ticket to taste bud heaven. And I'll explain more about the title in just a second.
好，所以我们先来看今天呢深入台湾的单元跟明天我们要来看到的文章的中文标题是台湾最强平民美食卤肉饭。那现在 Stevie 老師要針對我們的英文 title 呢再來講一下。
Yeah. Okay, our title. First of all, it sounded like I was speaking Chinese, not English. 卤肉飯.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was. There's not just one way to say 卤肉飯. Some people call it braised pork. Some people call it stewed pork or Taiwanese braised pork with rice. There's a lot of ways to say it. But we're going to call it 卤肉飯, okay? But I wanted to talk about the cheapest ticket to taste bud heaven. All right. Now here we're talking about a journey, buying a ticket somewhere.
That's right.
So buying a ticket to heaven, a cheap ticket, not an expensive ticket, but what heaven? To taste bud heaven. Your taste bud is your
味蕾.
味蕾, okay? So something that's going to make your taste buds go to heaven, okay? Of course, Taiwanese 卤肉飯, right? So we're just kind of having fun with that.
沒錯.
The cheapest ticket to taste bud heaven, you're going to love it. 卤肉飯.
我也觉得这个英文的 title 很棒哦。
Yeah.
如果我们把它直译的话，叫做通往味蕾天堂最便宜的票哦，最便宜的门票。所以呢，这个真的是把它描述得很生动。
Yeah. So 我觉得这个翻译我们最更好。
可以吗？
Yeah.
Okay.
非常好。
Thank you.
Okay. So let's look at our article. Okay. From beef noodle soup to 卤味, from 蛋饼 to pearl milk tea. Taiwanese love their food. Okay. Now you notice we're speaking Chinglish. Chinese and English together.
That's right.
So beef noodle soup, very popular. So we say this in English, from A to B, from C to D. Okay. It's just a speaking
way.
A pattern that we use in English. So from beef noodle soup to 卤味, from 蛋饼 to pearl milk tea. Taiwanese love their food. That means they love all kinds of foods, and there's a lot of Taiwanese specialty foods. Yeah.
那么呢，我们来看到文章的一开头。首先呢，刚刚 Stevie 老師有提到了这个从 A 到 B， 从 C 到 D 哦，这样的一个表达法哦，就是当你想要讲的品项蛮多的时候呢，其实很适合用这样子的一个方式。好像我们这里就要讲出4个品项，所以我们很恰当的就用了这样子的一个从牛肉面到卤味，再从蛋饼到蒸奶。那么台湾人呢，可以说是非常热爱他们的美食的。
Yeah, and the A to B, C to D, very common. You could say from 淡水 to 垦丁, from 台中 to 花莲. Taiwan has great food wherever you go.
所以这个时候呢，Stevie 老師放的4個就是地名。那你注意到，当然你不會放前面是 from A 是地名，然後 to B 你去放一個食物哦。所以呢，
Yeah.
基本上你要放的是一個對等的東西啊，就 OK 的。那就從 A 到 B， 從 C 到 D 這樣去表達。
Yeah. Okay, so, Taiwanese love their food. One dish, 卤肉飯, or braised pork rice, we'll call it that, is a cheap dish. It's not expensive. It's a cheap dish found throughout the island. You can find it all over Taiwan.
所以呢，接下来讲到，那么有这么多的美食，但是其中一道料理，这里的 dish 我们可以翻成料理啊。那么呢，就是什么呢？卤肉饭啊，或者是我们英文呢把它称为 braised pork rice。这里的 braised 呢，指的呢，它可以当这个炖啊，也可以当成是红烧，或者呢，我们这边其实可以把它翻成是卤啊，所以呢，变成是这个卤的猪肉的饭啊，这个英文直译是这样啊。那么这个卤肉饭呢是怎么样？句子的动词 is 是呢一道在全岛随处都可以见到的这个美食，而且是便宜的料理。
Yep. A bowl of the rice of this 卤肉饭 usually costs around 35 NT or less. So it's cheap.
没错，所以呢，接下来讲到，那么卤肉饭一碗啊，所以一碗的这个饭啊 ，the rice， 所以呢，通常花的呢，大约在35块的这个新台币，或者更便宜。
Because of this, the dish is popular with people from all walks of life. Because it is so cheap, it's not expensive. It's popular with people from all walks of life. When we say all walks of life, we're talking about people with all different backgrounds. So rich people, poor people, business people, teachers, people who are from all walks, all who do all kinds of different things. It means everybody.
没错
Really.
所以呢，接下来呢，这一句他讲到说，因为这个原因啊，这里的 because of this， 这个 this 指的就是前一句所讲的啊，因为它这么的便宜啊，所以呢，这样的原因的关系，这道料理呢，它呢可以说是受到怎么样的人的喜爱，叫做 be popular with， 后面去接那个怎么样的人啊，受到怎么样的人的喜爱呢？受到各行各业的人啊，所有的人的喜爱的意思。那么这里的 walk 它不是动词的那个走啊，这里的话是名词，那么它指的就是来自各个阶级、各个地位、各个行业的人。所以呢，这里我们常常会看到这样子的用法 ，all walks of life， 可以把它学起来。
Okay, we're going to take a quick break and look at the next paragraph. Looking at the next paragraph. Okay, what's in the dish? What is it? We could say what's in this dish that we're talking about. What is in 卤肉饭？
没错，这个问题呢非常的简单啊，他就是问，那么在这道料理中有什么？那有什么的意思，当然就是有什么食材的意思了。
What's in the dish? Well, it's a bowl of white rice topped with pork. Whenever we say something is topped with something else, that means it's on top of something.
没错，所以呢，接下来他就回答了啊，那就是一碗呢上面啊淋上了猪肉的白饭啊。这里的 top 我们看到它呢是这个动词啊，那么表示呢在上头有什么的意思，所以呢就是一碗淋上了猪肉的白饭。
Of course, the secret is in how the pork is cooked. The secret the secret of how this is so tasty is the secret is in how the pork is cooked.
所以呢，接下来这一句讲到说，那么这个秘诀啊，那么所以什么秘诀？当然就是刚刚 Stevie 老师讲的，这个料理这么好吃的秘诀呢，就存在于什么当中？叫做 is in 啊。那么存在于什么当中呢？存在于这个猪肉它是怎么样被料理的？所以这里有一个 pork is cooked 的被动式啊，这个猪肉是怎么被料理的，就是它的秘诀。
Usually, it uses some sort of soy sauce base. Now, when we talk about any sort of flavor and we say something base, that means that's like the main ingredient or the main flavor. So it's some sort of soy sauce base. There's a lot of flavors, but there's soy sauce in there.
所以呢，接下来这一句讲到通常哦，他在讲到这个料理法了。所以说，通常呢 ，it 是指这个卤肉饭呢，哦，这个猪肉啦，哦，它呢会使用某种的哦，这个 some sort of 某种的哦，这个呢以酱油为基底，叫做 soy sauce base。这里的 base 就是当基底的意思啊的这样子的卤汁来去使用它。
Yeah, like if you were talking about like pasta, spaghetti sauce, and you were talking about 那种番茄肉酱
意大利面酱
Yeah, that kind. We would say it's a tomato-based sauce. Or if it's培根奶油, we say it's a cream-based sauce. So, or it has a cream base, a tomato base.
所以你就知道这个刚刚呢，Steve 老师讲的就是它里面有一个，虽然有很多东西，但是那个主食材、那个主材料是什么？就是那个 base 啊。
Yeah.
所以刚好也可以拼一下刚刚讲到的一个食材或材料这个字 ingredient。
Ingredient, I-N-G-R-E-D-I-E-N-T, ingredient. So sometimes braised bamboo shoots or pickled radishes are served as toppings. So sometimes with the 卤肉饭, with the braised pork, braised bamboo shoots, which we know are 被炖的 stewed or braised, or pickled radishes are served as toppings to go with the pork.
所以呢，接下来这句讲到，那么有的时候啊，这里我们可以翻成呢，这个芦笋丝啊，或者是卤竹笋，那么呢，或者是这个腌的萝卜，也会呢被 served as， 就是以什么样的方式来上它啊，上这个菜，上这个料理，以什么方式 as toppings 啊，所以这里的话呢，一样是这个配着这个猪肉，所以我们可以把它翻成是配菜的意思。
We're going to take one more quick break, and we'll look at the next part of the article. Looking at the next paragraph, it asks a question. Where did the dish come from? Okay, where did 卤肉饭 come from? Good question.
所以接下来他要来探讨这个来由了，所以他呢问了一个问题，说这道料理是这个从何而来呢？
Some people think it can be traced back several hundred years. When we say something can be traced back, it means you can look at little clues, C-L-U-E-S, little clues, and you can find the story, the history, and you can trace it back. And they say it can be traced back several hundred years, so maybe 200-300 years or more.
所以呢，接下来讲到 some 哦，刚刚呢这个 C 老师提到了，就是有些人啊，他们呢认为 it 是指这个卤肉饭，它可以呢 be traced back， 这是一个固定的用法，被回溯到啊。那么多久以前呢？接在 back 后面，好几百年前。所以换言之，它的这个历史可能有好几百年。
The first Han people in Taiwan didn't have much meat because it was hard to come by and expensive. Now, when we say something is hard to come by, it means it's hard to find. It's hard to find, it's hard to buy, it's hard to get. And of course, meat at that time was very expensive.
所以呢，接下来就来讲了。他说呢，这个第一批的这个汉人来到台湾的时候呢，并没有太多的这个肉类可以吃 ，didn't have much meat。为什么呢？因为 it was hard to come by。刚刚讲到了，就是要获得肉类，要获取肉类呢很难，而且呢肉又非常的贵。
So most families would buy the cheapest meat available. Because it was expensive, so they would buy the cheapest meat they could find.
所以呢，接下来这句讲到，所以既然因为肉类呢很难获得，而且又非常的昂贵，所以大部分的家庭呢都会去买他们所能买得到的最便宜的肉。那换言之，就是最便宜的这种部位的意思了。
Yeah. Now, to make less seem like more, they diced up the less desirable pieces to make thick sauces served over rice. So, yeah, that's when we say they wanted to make less seem like more. I mean, we do this a lot, just like when you make rice and you turn it into zhou. You know, you add more water, maybe then you add in some vegetables, a little bit of meat, and maybe you had 2 bowls of rice, but now you have a whole pot of a rice stew.
对
A kanji.
Kanji.
Yeah. So they wanted to make less seem like more, and with meat, what do? You dice it up, okay? To dice means to chop in little pieces. And here they probably more than diced. They chopped it up in little tiny pieces, and of course the less desirable pieces. If you had a steak, are you going to chop up steak for 卤肉饭? No, you're going to chop up the parts that are kind of hard, kind of tough, you know. And they use those to make thick sauces served over rice. Meat, some spices, maybe some flour, some water, make it into a thick sauce, and you have it over rice.
That's right. 所以呢，接下来这一句讲到了这个 to make less seem like more， 这里其实你用直译的话，很容易就了解它的意思了为了让比较少的分量看起来变得比较多，就是这个意思那么 they 呢，就是指这些大部分的家庭，他们呢就会把肉切丁叫 dice up。的什么什么那么这里的话呢，把什么切丁，把比较不那么受喜爱的部位，换言之比较差的部位呢，来这个切丁，然后 to make 来制作出这个非常浓的浓厚的这个 sauces 酱汁，然后呢 serve over rice 把它淋在这个饭上。
The result was 卤肉饭, a common dish, a common wonderful thing. Celebrated across Taiwan. Everybody loves 卤肉饭。
没错，所以呢，这个成果这个 the result 我们讲的这个结果，那就是这个成果呢，就是卤肉饭那么逗号的后面呢，继续补充怎么样的卤肉饭呢？一道在全台湾叫 across Taiwan， 全台湾呢都怎么样 celebrated？ 这里我们可以把它翻成是赞不绝口的这个一道非常常见的 common 是很常见、很寻常、很普遍的这个料理。
Okay, we're going to have a quick review, and then we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Okay, I just want to mention, because we're talking about food.
That's right.
And, you know, we hear a lot of words in English, like today we learned braised pork rice, and I said, or we could call it stewed pork rice. Well, in English, stew means to like cook it in water and let it slow cook. So 用炖的. That would be to stew, S-T-E-W. And to braise something means first, if it's meat, you fry it.
先煎一下.
Yeah, with a little oil just to make it brown. And then you slow bake it.
再用慢火、小火呢，去慢慢的卤它。
Or 烤.
烤.
It could be baked or roasted. And so that would be braised. And sometimes in Chinese, you know, like braised could also be like 红烧.
对.
You know? So that's all okay. The most important thing is the food that we're eating is delicious. So if you hear 卤肉饭 or braised pork rice or stewed pork rice or just Taiwanese pork rice, you know what? It's all good. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow. See you then.
Bye-bye.
第54页，深入台湾，台湾最强平民美食卤肉饭。
卤肉饭, the cheapest ticket to taste bud heaven. From beef noodle soup to lu wei, from danbing to pearl milk tea, Taiwanese love their food. One dish, 卤肉饭, braised pork rice, is a cheap dish found throughout the island. A bowl of the rice usually costs around 35 NT dollars or less. Because of this, the dish is popular with people from all walks of life. What's in the dish? It's a bowl of white rice topped with pork. Of course, the secret is in how the pork is cooked. Usually, it uses some sort of soy sauce base. Sometimes braised bamboo shoots or pickled radishes are served as toppings. Where did the dish come from? Some think it can be traced back several hundred years. The first Han people in Taiwan didn't have much meat because it was hard to come by and expensive. So most families would buy the cheapest meat available. To make less seem like more, they diced up the less desirable pieces to make thick sauces served over rice. The result was 卤肉饭, a common dish celebrated across Taiwan.